The earliest that I know that I'm seeing something different is as young as 5 years old. I remember that particular night, it was a very cold night, very chilling. Suddenly I have this urge, or I feel that someone is calling me. So from the guest room, I walked all the way to the kitchen. At the end of the kitchen, there was this black, shadowy man standing right at the end, waving at me.
I really don't feel good. It's like getting a vibe.
Is anyone here? What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.
And I thought it was my granddad. Because, when you are young, when you look at every adult, they seems to be so much bigger. And luckily, my granddad suddenly gave a cough in the master bedroom. Was coughing away. And I realized that was not my granddad. It was something else. I was very frightened, but I didn't tell any of the adults. And this kind of stuff kept on happening to me when I was very young. So I have quite a miserable childhood. Either I don't dare to go to the toilet, or I am very afraid of the sea. Because sometimes when I'm inside the water, I feel that something is pulling my legs. It sort of continued until I went into my teenage days. The second time that I see that thing again in my granddad's place was probably 10 years later when I'm 15. But this time round, instead of a huge black shadow, it took a form of a small little backpack. But it was actually clinching onto my uncle's back. I was in another room and I was reading my comics. My uncle came in feeling very upset and angry and agitated and was like topless. Then suddenly when he turned his back at me, I saw these black little things clinching on his back. At that very instant, I know that it must be that thing that makes my uncle agitated. Again, I choose not to talk about it. I choose to just keep quiet. And 2 weeks later, my uncle actually committed suicide in the room that I was staying when I was 5. And the way he hanged himself seems like an act of another person. And the police thought that there was some foul play involved. And the way he hanged himself is not hanging from the ceiling. He was using his, I don't know what do you call it, but he used his, he just pulled himself to death. How? I really don't know. Because he actually tied a knot onto the grill. It's not even on the highest grill, but he used his pure strength and determination to strangle himself to death. I saw him. There was like blue blacks everywhere, and so it's only after that incident I decided to share with my family member. But then again, it's too late. When I told them about my sightings, they decided to move out of the place. Someone else actually bought over the place, and I heard that they keep on hearing footsteps in the house. Upper Boon Keng Road, Block 9. Yeah, it's a very spooky block. I had a very terrible childhood at that particular location. But luckily, the whole block is already on block. It's no longer there. During my childhood, it's always about all this black shadow, white shadow. Nothing close to what we seen in the movie. I have never ever seen like ghost taking off his head, or stinking out his tongue. Never ever. It's always grey or white shadow figure, which is very common. Even 2 days ago, I saw it in my own kitchen. The only thing that I don't like seeing is probably the black shadow. Yeah, in Chinese it's called 黑影. Yeah, it's something like a demon. But whenever that appeared, something bad will follows. I was 16. I was in my living room. I was doing some readings. The main door was shut. And suddenly, out of nowhere, there was this huge, black, cricket-looking creature came dashing into my room, into my living room, all the way to the kitchen, and up to the laundry. So I went to the kitchen, I was like shouting at whatever, and I said, you leave my place immediately. But of course, I'm not powerful enough. Following days, guess what happened? My dad got stroke. So instant. It's really instant. But my dad was quite lucky. After probably a month, he had full recovery. The fourth time was actually at Nicoll Highway. Near to the Nicoll Highway was at this place called Golden Mile Complex. I was already a police officer. So we were doing patrol. My car was stationed inside the basement car park. So we're sort of resting. My driver was, because we were doing a graveyard shift. And suddenly I feel goosebumps. Then right in front of my eyes, there was 5 huge creatures moving in front of me. The size of rhino. They don't have a specific shapes that you can relate to. It's like just one big shadow, but 5. And that was like 2 weeks before Nicoll Highway collapsed. I have no explanation, but it's just so coincidence that whenever they appeared, something bad would happen. On that particular day when Nicoll Highway collapsed, I was off duty. I happened to be at Suntec, happily shopping. Then suddenly the whole building vibrated and it sort of blacked out. I have a bad feeling. Then I received a phone call from my office. Mr. Lau, you are needed immediately. Major incident happened. I went straight to my office. My office was at level 2. And right in front of my office, there's this huge courtyard. So I went in, got changed into my uniform. The moment I done changing, I heard a very loud crow noise right outside my door. So when I opened the door to check it out, this crow came charging at me. My very first reaction was to let go of the door, and because there's a spring there, so the door actually slammed against the crow, and the head was still inside my room, while the body is still outside, all intact. It's just that it got trapped. For a moment, I don't know what to do because I have never experienced such things. Maybe I see shadow, but never a live bird, and huge. I took a deep breath. I sort of opens up the door a bit. I kick the bird out. The moment I kick the bird out, I start seeing other officers appearing. Prior to that, I don't even feel any human presence in the whole entire police station, which is strange. The other officer tried to catch that injured bird, and the moment he tried to touch the bird, we realized that there's another 4 more sitting on the railing of the third level. He got scared because they were like making a lot of noise. Of course, I was rushing for time. I didn't wanting to pay too much attention. I also don't know what this whole thing is about. Until later parts during the Nicoll Highway. Nicoll Highway, there was a total of 5 victims. Okay? 4 foreigners and 1 foreman. Foreman is actually a Singaporean. We managed to retrieve all the 4 foreigners except for the local Chinese, because the Chinese was actually trapped deep inside a pool of water about 6 meters deep, and while SCDF tried to recover his body, the structure of the Nicoll Highway was giving way, so the whole structure was very unsound. We have no choice but to abolish the whole entire mission. But what actually caught me by surprise was on the very last day, because I was the officer manning this place called relative holding areas. It's a place that's meant for all the relatives of the victim, as well as all the media people, the reporters, etc. So on the very last day, I remember it was about 11-ish a.m. I was very tired because I did the night shift the night before. So I went to the washroom to clean myself up. So when I was looking at the mirror, the reflection of the mirror was showing this cubicle. But at the cubicle, at the toilet bowl, there was this man sitting there in construction attire. The whole body was drenched, but it was like looking down. You can't see his face, it's like grey tone. a bit greyish. And I know, as a matter of fact, I know that it's not human. Then I said, oh, shit, again. Then I look away. Then I look the second time, wasn't there. Then I look the third time, appeared again. Remove myself from the toilet, I walk out. But the moment I step out of the toilet, Commissioner SCDF arrived at my station saying that they need to meet the relative of the last victim because they wanted to make announcement that they are going to cease all operation. So I see a link. I see a link that probably the last victim is trying to get me to deliver some message to the family member. Probably he sensed that I can see him. But of course I asked my boss, I said, ma'am, this, that, you know. She believed me, she's quite sure that I really can see things. And she asked me two things. She said, if they believe you, if the relative, the family member actually believe what you said, they'll be very upset. And worst case scenario, if they don't believe you, you know what are the consequences? So sometimes I'm in a dilemma. I wanted to share, I wanted to talk, but I don't know how to, because not many people can take the fact that I do see. They are okay that I see things, but they are not okay that if the things that I'm seeing are their deceased relative.
What did you find?
You are listening to Supernatural Confessions.